This year's Festival of the Lost starts on the 6th of October 2020 and runs to November the 3rd. And then it'll only be 1 week until Beyond Light, so we're on the home straight, folks. So I thought I'd show you all of the rewards, all of the triumphs, the Sparrows, the ships, everything that's coming in this year's Festival of the Lost. But how do I know all this stuff? Well, let me tell you, there's a fantastic site called braytech.org. It's basically a Destiny companion app. Fan-built too. And you can look at your clan, you can look at your collections, you can look at your triumphs, your trackers, your checklists. You've got maps of all the different areas. So I thoroughly recommend this for you to go and have a little look at. Now this year there doesn't seem to be a weapon. Usually in the first time we did it we had the Horror Story auto rifle, and then last year we had the Braytech Werewolf auto rifle, but there doesn't seem to be a weapon this year as yet, although they haven't yet to spill the beans on it, so there could very well be, but there's nothing showing in the database at the moment. Now let's get right into the universal ornaments for the various subclasses. And the Warlock is themed on a rather dapper looking vampire look. You can see here that the helmet's got like the teeth affair, and we can see the gauntlets here as well. They're very nice too. And the actual chest piece, I love the ruff. It looks really cool. Like Dracula has sort of turned up for a space opera. It's absolutely marvellous. So the Warlock set there I think is very, very pretty and something that I think I'm going to have to buy. Now then, in regard to getting these things, you have to get them via Eververse. So it's 6,000 bright dust for the set, or it's 1,500 silver. Basically the same amount as it was for what's that last thing we just bloody did? Solstice of the Heroes. Solstice of Heroes. That's the one. Anyway, yes, so it's the same price as those, so you're going to have to be forking out a bit of cash if you want these ornaments, but my god, they're very pretty. Let's go and have a little look at the Hunter ornament. Now this one's called the Lycanthrope set. Werewolf themed. You can see the sort of wolf muzzle biting into a canister of smoke that's going to explode all over everyone's face. But I think it looks very, very nice. Very very werewolfy, wouldn't you say? Lots of fur on the sleeves and legs. Very, very nice. So if the Warlock is a vampire and the Hunter is a werewolf, then our Titan is Frankenstein's monster. As you can see, all the bits are welded together like Frankenstein was kind of sewed together, wasn't he? And there's large bolts motif on the legs and on the helmet and stuff, and I just think it looks really great. It's a really clever, neat idea to sort of base them on the 3 classic monsters. So I'm going to be really hard pushed to decide which one of these I'm going to buy, to be perfectly honest. I think the Warlock just edges it for me, and then I think the Titan one is excellent too, so there we go. Now we've got 8 new masks as well to have a little look at. So the first one we've got here is the Bubbling Mask. That looks really cool. It only just took me ages. It's a kind of Minecrafty cauldron. I've only just twigged what that is. So that's new for this year. That looks very, very nice. The next one we have is the Fractured Traveller Mask. Ooh, that's quite nice. I like the bit sticking out of it too. That's quite funny. It looks like a buggered up disco ball, which is in fact what the Traveller looks like as well, I suppose. Ooh, there we go. We've got one for Varix here, and he's even wearing a socially distanced mask. How responsible of Varix after he let out everybody in the Prison of Elders and got Cade killed. But for some reason we all still love him. Never mind, eh? We've got the Exo Stranger Mask. That's very nice too. I quite like that one. Who else do we have? We have the Bray Mask. That's quite detailed, isn't it? That's very good. Yes, quite like the Bray Mask. We've got the Wrapped Traveller Mask. Now this wrapped motif is something that seems to be quite popular this year in the Festival of the Lost, as you can see it with the ghosts on one of the ships as well, but I'll show you those in a minute. Associates Mask. What? Are they called associates? Are they Spiders Associates? That's what they are. Look, yes, I can see with the stabby things. Oh, and there we go. There's a spider mask as well. And it actually does look like a spider as well as the spider. Very intriguing. Okay, let's go and have a look at the ghost shells, ships, and sparrows. So the first ghost shell we've got is something called the Hexing Shell. Very neat looking shell that is basically got a wizard's hood on it by the looks of things, like a witch's kind of hat. That's pretty cool. And then the other shell that we've got is called the Restless Shell, and this is the one that's mummified. It's very, very nice, and there's also some lore that comes with that too, so I quite like that. That's not too bad at all. Then let's have a look. Let's have a look at the ship that we can get, and it's called Rap Speed. Not Warp Speed, Rap Speed. Do you get it? And it's completely and totally covered in bandages, so you can't see bugger all out of the window. Still, it looks quite nice in a spooky kind of way. I love that. And then for the sparrows, we've got one called the Tomb Rider. Ha 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 ha! And there, that is also wrapped in lovely bandages. Next, we've got a rather crystalline special one. It's based on the broomstick from last year with addition of a cat. That's called the Halted Oblivion. That's very nice. And then finally, in the world of sparrows, we've got the Cryptomnesia, which looks like a lollipop with all the flavour sucked out and then a car shoved in the middle of it. It looks very pretty too. A few other miscellaneous things to go over as well. We've got a new transmat effect called Reanimated Entrance. I don't have the animation to show you, unfortunately, but we do have two new shaders, one called Bloodmane and one called Nougat Delight. Or, if you're from Swansea, Nugget Delight, which is how we say it round here. We've also got a finisher called 1 Inch Punch, no doubt to do with the famous 1 Inch Punch from Bruce Lee, where he just shifts his fist 1 inch and smashes the victim into the floor. That's quite cool. And there's something else as well called an Ascendant Lens. Now, I don't know what that's going to be for. It says you can see the Ascendant Plane through it. Now, I remember last year we had the thing where you could see a spider would come through your scope. Maybe if you scoped an enemy to kill, like a spider would crawl over the screen, and then you get a triumph for that. Well, maybe this is something similar. I don't know, but we don't really know much more about it yet. So that's quite intriguing. Maybe a little bit of a secret going on. Speaking of triumphs, let's go in and look at what triumphs we've got for this year's Festival of the Lost. So the first one we have here is called Masked Accomplice. Complete all Festival of the Lost triumphs. That's the standard one, really, I suppose. And then the next three are called Cash Grab, which means opening 15 caches for the Haunted Forest, you know, the chests at the end of each run. So you open 15 of those, and you'll get the reward for that. Then you got Cash Cow, which is open 13 caches, and then Caches Galore, which is 45 caches. The next thing we've got is Many Faces, which is acquiring all of the Festival of the Lost masks. That's 5 masks you have to acquire there. And then we've also got Wrapped and Ready. Now then, I'm not too sure what people are going to feel about this, because to get this triumph, you have to buy a ghost. And for getting the Ride or Die, you have to buy a sparrow. And to get the Entombed Horizons, you have to buy a ship. So you've actually only got to buy things to get those triumphs. Not very heroic triumph. Not really what you'd call a triumph, is it? Spending some cash in a shop. But there we go. That's what we get for those. And then we've got here the final one. It's called Looking Glass. Acquire the Ascendant Lens from Spider. That item I spoke about earlier on. I don't know if you remember last year, but Bungie allowed us to purchase an actual real-life mask type thing from their store. It was a lovely freebie, and it was of Eris Morn. So what you did was you bought it, you downloaded all the pages, they were like PDFs, and then you printed them all out, and then you cut them out and stuck the tabs in together, and it made a beautiful mask. Would you like to see my mask from last year? That's very good. And that is basically everything for this year's Festival of the Lost in regard to rewards that we know about at the moment. Now, there could be some secrets tucked away, although a lot of people on Reddit are kind of saying that there doesn't seem to be anything else in the database that they can find. So this is what we're going to be having, and it's going to be running for basically nearly 5 weeks. So we can get stuck in, get our cozies, and earn the bright dust to buy your vampires, and to buy your Frankensteins, and to buy your werewolves. That's probably the best thing to do. If you want to be notified of my new Destiny content when it drops, because I do this kind of comedy Destiny informative thing, then drop me a subscribe and hit the notification bell so it goes ting, and also drop the video a like as well if you did enjoy it, and a comment on what you think about this year's Festival of the Lost's rewards. And that's it from me. Sausage out.